Lindsey Piegza joins us now to talk more about this upbeat jobs report. She is the chief economist at Stifel. Welcome, Lindsey. Nice to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
I think this report certainly validates the Fed's latest stance, does it not?
Well, I think if we look just at this morning's number, it certainly paints a pretty positive picture of a relatively robust labor market. And as you suggest, it does support the Fed's presumed position move to the sidelines as we look at next week's FOMC meeting. Of course, some of the support was from a one-off return of GM workers after a prolonged strike, but we still did see pretty widespread gains across healthcare, business services, and even manufacturing in general. But I do think that there's still room for caution here. When we take a longer-term look, this morning's report, while very positive, doesn't dismiss some of the earlier, more anemic trends that we had seen in hiring for the better part of the past year. So while this morning's report certainly was enough to support a run-up in the equity markets, there is still some concern that I have about the labor market going forward into the new year.
Which sort of leads me to my question. I'm curious to know your answer to the point that Yolande made at the end of her package there, how much longer this tight labor market can last, and what will end it? Does it just peter out, or what happens, do you think?
Well, right now, I think that businesses are still very hesitant to take on a very robust level of long-term, higher-wage employees. What we're still seeing is a very heavy reliance on part-time, temporary gig employment. This tends to be a theme that we've been seeing for quite some time. Also, with a renewed reliance on artificial intelligence technology, this is also acting to actually replace some of the need for additional labor in the labor market. So a lot of these ongoing themes are going to slowly weigh on companies' needs for additional workers, additional employees. Also, the other thing that I wanted to point out was as we talk about the unemployment at this very low level, it doesn't account for all of the workers that have been displaced from the labor market, that are still sitting on the sidelines. And when we add them back in, we're talking about a much higher unemployment rate situation in this country.
And what about the situation with trade? At what point do you think we will see a decided impact? We've seen some companies talk about lack of business investment because of uncertainty, but do you expect the trade war, if it continues like it is now, to have a bigger impact?
I think it's having a compounding impact, absolutely. So the longer that we see this trade and tariff war extend, the more negative the impact will become. A lot of businesses were able to stockpile materials and supplies at the start of the year in anticipation of these barriers to international flows of capital and goods. But as this prolongs, businesses are now running through those stockpiles, and they're having to either come up with ways to find other materials, other sources, other suppliers, or simply absorb those cost increases, which is eating into many companies' bottom lines.
Lindsey Piegza with Stifel. Lindsey, thanks so much.
Thank you.